I'm nervous. I'm not the main presenter, but.
Oh, wait, am I supposed to be nervous?
No, not at all. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Irma Marquez Trapero. I am the Executive Director of LatinoLEAD. LatinoLEAD, we bring Latino leaders from all across the state, from many different ethnicities and stories, working together for greater social impact through collaboration, power building, and leadership development. I'm very excited to be welcoming you all to our Elevate, Inspire, LatinoLEAD event series. I'm very excited also that this event is in partnership with the Minnesota Hispanic Bar Association. And I'll kick it over to Richard, who is the president of Minnesota Hispanic Bar Association.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to this great event. My name is Richard Greifenstein. I'm the president of the Minnesota Hispanic Bar Association, the MHBA, and we're delighted to have you all here. For those of you not familiar with the MHBA, we're a nonprofit organization made up of Minnesota legal professionals and law students dedicated to unifying and organizing all members of the Latinx legal community, promoting our Latinx legal professionals, and serving as an advocate for the Latinx community in Minnesota. I'm especially excited about today's program as we at the MHBA are always looking for new ways to serve our members and community that can't think of a better way to do so than by helping our members and leaders tap into their unique sets of strengths. Big thanks to the LatinoLEAD and the MHBA's Community Outreach Committee for setting this up.
Yes, and especially, we have had a lot of struggles during this very historic challenges during this global pandemic, but we believe that it is crucial that we continue our leadership development. And for that, we have a wonderful Sarah Oquist, who is the national speaker and leadership consultant. For over 3 decades, Sarah has been leading and managing others, learning through hands-on experience to engage, inspire, and effectively lead individuals and teams to transformational change and sustainable success. She began her career as a lawyer herself, being a lawyer for Faegre, along other firms such as U.S. Bank, and now devotes her time to speaking, writing, and advising in the areas of workforce inclusion, corporate governance, and leadership development. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here.
And for Sarah, among her honors, she received the Minnesota Lawyers 2020 Diversity and Inclusion Award for going above and beyond in her efforts to create a more diverse and inclusive community, and the Twin City Businesses 2021 Notable Women in Commercial Banking for best-in-class executives and leaders. After facilitating an inclusion workshop with the FBI Minneapolis division, Sarah was invited into the FBI's Citizens Academy. Among her training, Sarah is a certified Gallup Strengths Coach, an executive coach, and an organization and relationship systems coach.
Thank you so much for that introduction and for having me. Thank you to MHBA, LatinoLEAD, and all the people who work so hard to put this together, my team as well. And usually I have someone here running my PowerPoint, and but I don't today. So bear with me as I navigate a different system than I've ever been on, as well as run my own PowerPoint. So I also sit on 6 company board of directors, and I love doing that. And so many people ask me all the time, how do you do everything you do? And for me, the secret of my success is unleashing my talents. What I hope that you will see today and understand a little bit is how, if you focus on your talents, you can do even more, even better, faster. So when I do Strengthsfinder workshops, I often start by referencing a 1993 film, Rudy. Well, I started doing this when I was began practicing law. That movie was only 6 years old, but now it's 28 years later. And so I fear I really actually need to get a better illustration. So for those of you who have never seen the movie or weren't even born when the movie came out, the American Film Institute ranked Rudy as one of the most inspiring films of all time, and ESPN ranked it among the best sports movies. It's about a young man named Rudy who had dreams of playing college football at University of Notre Dame, despite the fact that he was super small, he didn't have the grades or the money or the talent. I won't ruin the movie in case you want to go back and watch it, but the overall focus was very similar to sort of how society looks at what we should do to become great, which is to focus on our weaknesses and make them better. It was an inspiring movie to watch, and it was entertaining. But this sort of figure out what you think you want to do and then work super hard to do it doesn't always end up in success as much as you want. It sometimes ends up in mediocrity and lack of fulfillment or frustration. Like, this isn't exactly what I want. Why am I not happy? I also coach executives, and sometimes they come to me and they're like, something's not quite right. And sometimes it's not about working harder. It's not about practicing harder. So a number of you as lawyers started out and you figured out, here's what I want to practice, and you worked really hard. And there's lots of studies out there that say, if you want to become really good at something, you want to be competent or skilled, practice, do that thing 1,000 hours or 2,000 hours or 10,000 hours, whatever it is. And then you can be great. And whatever number that is, what I have found is I want to use those hours on my strengths, not necessarily my weaknesses, to become mediocre. So sometimes young emerging leaders ask me for advice about, hey, if I were to do it all over again, my 30 years of practicing, what would I do differently? And I don't know that I'd end up at where I am today differently. I actually like where I am today, but I'd probably do it more efficiently and I'd be less confused on the way here. So I'm hoping during our short time together, to give some thought to where you are and what your natural strengths are. And if you're going to allocate those 1,000 hours or 2,000 hours of practice time, I would invite you to use this time as a reset to focus those hours on your natural talents, to direct your energy, your time, and your dreaming on things that will give you more bang for your buck, more success for your effort, more productivity for your hour, and more happiness and fulfillment for your efforts. So the most significant leadership information that I learned when I dove into the Strengthsfinder is what my natural strengths were. You'll hear it, I'll show it, but there's a tendency at times to overlook our natural talents because they become so natural and because we do them so naturally. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared with what lies within us. This quote helps remind me that the key to achieving success is not trying to be someone else or do well what someone else does. Instead, this whole process is about discovering my own exceptional abilities, recognizing my weaknesses and my potential vulnerabilities, and understand how I can complement someone else's ability. My hope for you today is to begin uncovering some of that. I've come to realize when I understand my greatest talent, that's when I have the greatest opportunity for strength and success. Clifton Strengthsfinder is an invaluable tool to help you uncover these unique talents and find new, appreciative, and collaborative ways to enhance performance and work with others. As I mentioned, you can still identify your talents without using this specific tool, but this tool is aimed at helping you more quickly identify your talents. So at some point, if you haven't taken the assessment, I recommend that you take it and then review the reports that come with it that highlights your opportunities for greater success. Now, as we go through, I'll be dropping in some of Gallup's 50 years of research that shows us the bottom line to this way of behaving is more efficiency. Focusing on my talents can appreciatively enhance my ability to build on the best of who I am and help me grow. I say this to my clients all the time. Do what you love. Do what gives you energy. Let's be efficient in reaching our goals. But hang on, if you're about to leave, don't leave. This isn't just about a feel-good approach. The concept of talent is a critical business driver, whether you're looking at your own performance, your team's performance, of your colleagues, or you're managing a team. Today's goal is to begin setting a foundation of basic information about the background and philosophy of strengths and the assessment. So let's get started and focus on you. And I want to hear from you in the chat. So this is how I am trying to accommodate the fact that I cannot see you and you're not with me. But let's start with something hopefully very easy. What name do you prefer to be called? Put that in the chat. Your name. Gallup research indicates that 15% of people are called by a name they actually don't prefer, which is baffling to me why that is. But in any event, I like to call people by their names, and I can't call on you in a virtual platform, but I wanted to start with something easy. So let's go to the next piece. Put in the chat so I know that you're there. What do you get paid to do? This isn't a title. Instead, it's the importance of your work. What do you do that makes you get paid? You can go even deeper and express what it is about your job that energizes you, maybe your mission or the reason your job exists. But what's the unique value that you bring to your team? All right. And while we're at it, what's one positive word people use to describe you? This is usually something unique and valuable about you. In lieu of an assessment, or maybe in addition to an assessment, I like to have clients think about what they hear others say about you or what you get complimented on regularly. This is where I see one of the first traps that we set for ourselves. We underestimate our gifts because they come so naturally to us. We can think, doesn't everybody do that? How can you not do that? More on this later, but begin to accept that the compliments you receive may be an indicator of your natural talent. And the goal in identifying natural talents is to be as successful as I can with as much efficiency as I can. So here's what Gallup says about the keys to the success. All right, hold on a moment. I can't see the screen, so I can only see the chat. But I'm getting information that there is something on the screen that I can't see. All right, so I can't see that. Oh, there we go. Out of private chat and into comments. Thank you. All right, perfect. Love it. Oh, thank you. Yahoo! We have comments. I can see it. I am not alone. Okay, that makes me super happy. And if for those of you who are relators out there, you will know why that makes me so happy. Okay, let me find my spot here. Here's what Gallup says about success. Okay, the keys to success is to fully understand how to apply your strengths and your talents in your everyday life. So when you think of successful people, who do you think of? What are some of the names that come to mind? Put them in the chat. Some of the successful people that you think of. I can tell you some of mine, which is going to demonstrate my age, my gender, and the heritage in my immediate family. But I think of Oprah. I think of Ellen, Taylor Swift. My son loves Taylor Swift. Sonia Sotomayor, Michael Jordan, Alex Rodriguez, Tiger Woods, Ellen Ochoa. Even if people are controversial and whatever, in terms of success, Serena Williams, Abby Wambach, Mia Hamm, lots of successful people. Nice. as you add people, think about what makes them successful. Most people who are really successful, like people like that we think about, they're not necessarily well-rounded. They're not really able to perform perfection in many different areas. Instead, they have a sharp point, an area of excellence where they have learned to maximize their potential. We see talent in world-class sports stars like Michael Jordan, Mia Hamm, Serena Williams, and their talent goes beyond sheer athleticism. They also have an ability to see the game in slow motion. Yes, Shakira. I had thought of that last night. I was like, I just love her. Anyway, the goal is to understand what I do best and where I can sharpen my areas of excellence to achieve success in my personal and professional life. A strengths-based approach means we give up trying to become well-rounded. Like these successful people, we take our natural talents and we sharpen those into distinctive points. Think about the effect of this concept when it's applied to a whole team, a team composed of individuals who all contribute their own unique strengths and talents, which is one reason why a diverse team can be so amazing. While individuals should be sharp, a team should be well-rounded and diverse. So a few more notes on what Gallup has found about people focusing on strengths. I am loving that people are in the chat, and now I want to stop and read them all. Thank you. Yes, I agree. People who focus on using their strengths are 3 times as likely to report having an excellent quality of life. People who focus on their strengths are 6 times as likely to be engaged in their jobs. Over the past decades, Gallup has had all sorts of people study the talents and strengths in a variety of roles, from housekeepers to chief executives, from clergy members to government officials, and they've researched almost every industry and position across the board. Having the opportunity to use and develop our strengths is more important to success than our role, our job title, or even our pay. Here are some things research has shown. People working in the strength zone. So this is, you've identified your talents and now you're working off of those, not your weaknesses, but your talents. When we see people being able to work in the strength zone, they look forward to going to work. They have more positive than negative interactions with coworkers. They treat customers better. They tell their friends they work for a great company. They achieve more on a daily basis. And don't we want that? They also have more positive, creative, and innovative moments. Beyond the world of work, there are compelling reasons for us to understand, appreciate, and intentionally leverage our strengths. Gallup shows that a strength-based approach improves a person's confidence, direction, hope, kindness. For me, I get baffled. Like that's energy providing. But that said, the vast majority of people don't actually have the opportunity to focus on what they do best. Over the last decade, Gallup surveyed more than 10 million people worldwide on the topic of employee engagement, asking them to rate this statement on a scale of 1 for strongly disagree to 5 for strongly agree. At work, I have the opportunity to do what I do best every day. Sadly, only 1 in 4 people strongly agree with this statement. So let's switch gears for a minute. Get ready to respond in the chat again. For this next piece, I will read a series of statements. If you are someone who always exhibits the behavior I read, please comment in the chat. Okay, here goes. Comment in the chat by typing the word instructive if you do the following. do you talk to people in elevators, airplanes, grocery stores, and wherever you go? If so, type talk. Okay, you know these people. At least there's a number of them. Some of them are a little bit difficult. Some of them are you're just amazed by. But sometimes these people can be annoying. Sometimes they can be awesome. Sometimes you can't get away from them. The door's shut. There's no escape, and you never know what to say to them. And do they think people, do you think they search out and look for places to trap you? Do they ever get tired of talking? But hold on, because I tend to be one of those people. There is some natural power to this trait. These are people. They can easily meet new people. And they can usually win me over pretty easy. I love it. Look at all the talkers. They are just socially comfortable. They always seem to know what to say and what to do. They can break the ice with seemingly anyone. And there's some real power in the value of that. But back to the activity. Comment in the chat. Do you have a color-coded or otherwise organized closet? If so, type organized closet. And then I might get your number. All right. Do you write down a list of things to do and stick to the list? If so, I love it. Oh, I'm sorry. I got excited at the people who could organize and I could hang out with. Type stick to the list. How about, I just learned who Marie Kondo is just recently. Okay. What about, do you make a list of things to do even on the weekend? So type weekend list, and then we're definitely going to become bestest of friends. All right. How about, do you need to pick someone to race while you're driving? If so, type race. I'm not one of those people, but dude, when we do this in person, I love it. I love seeing them. And then I let them leave before me when we leave the conference center. How about ask too many questions? Is that you? Put question marks in the chat. How about, are you one of those people who get on the elevator and push the elevator button to remind it that you're there? If so, type push. Type push. You know what? Often we think that these behaviors are personality quirks or idiosyncrasies, but really, this could be evidence of your natural talents, natural behaviors that you can apply in your everyday life. For most of us, no one taught us to behave these ways. My son, who's 10, color codes his clothes. I didn't show him that. These are things that come naturally to us, or things that we're unable to imagine not doing. The same is true of our natural talents. So that is super fun. I love the push. I do see you all on the elevator. Everyone has talent. Not everyone has transformed their talent into strength, though. Talents are a means to an end, but they're not the end itself. Our talents are quick, powerful, dynamic, transformative. And when people learn how to consciously seek and invent ways to apply their talents to their goals and their tasks, that's when they are excellent. There is power in the authenticity of leading with who you are. Let me say that again. So you are going to be best at leading when you can be who you are. So exactly what is talent? Talent is a naturally recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied. There are hundreds of different talents, including the actions and behaviors that we just saw people chat about and claim. Examples of talent include effortlessly and instinctively starting conversations. That's a talent. Thinking of in an orderly or timely manner. I used to do this all the time and I didn't realize it was a gift. I thought, doesn't everybody think that way? Being able to easily influence others. You know that person in your group, they will get the group to do something and all of a sudden you're off and running. Seeing patterns in data. consistently having a positive outlook in life. That's a talent. Those are things that people just automatically do, just naturally. Most of the time, they don't even think about it. But everybody has these unique talents. Here's my last point, and then we'll do another activity. People who focus on using their strengths maximize their potential. To become our best selves, we have to fully understand our talents. So if you did the Strengthsfinder assessment, that's the beginning. That shows you your top 5. So it doesn't mean that we ignore our weaknesses. I'm not advocating for that. You still have to navigate your weaknesses, but in our society, there's so often the idea that we should focus on those and fix them. But research supports the importance of focusing on our talents. People who learn to use their talents every day have 7.8% greater productivity. And teams who receive strengths feedback have 8.9% greater profitability. So teams that focus on and spend those hours that we were talking about at the beginning, who focus those hours on how do we get you to better utilize your strengths to navigate your goals and your task, they are more profitable than the teams who focus on, well, this is what you don't do well, so let's make you better at that, or make you better at that so that you won't bring us down. That's not the approach that brings greater profitability. Okay, let's do, I like that, thank you. Let's do, I love chat, and I get so distracted. Okay, let's do an activity. Please take out a sheet of paper and a pen or pencil. Sorry, I think at the beginning I was supposed to remind you that to have a pen or paper. So I'll give you just a minute. And please participate. I can't see you. I can't see if you just got distracted by an email. But if you can, take out a piece of paper and the pencil. And it doesn't have to be big. On your sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle. So this way, so you have a left side and a right side. So this is an exercise in individual productivity, and you're going to be measured on speed, how quickly you can write this sentence 3 times, and quality. I want it to look nice. Now, I can't see you, but as I said, love it if you'd participate. On the left side of the page, when I say start, I want you to write a statement 3 times. But don't do it till I say start. Don't start yet. I'm going to keep track of how long it takes for somebody to write done in the chat, but wait until I say start. Or maybe I'll do it so that I know, because I think there's a delay in the chat. Okay, everybody has their paper out, their pencil out, ready to write on the left side. Here's the phrase, but don't start yet. This is just giving you the phrase. So don't start yet. You're going to write, I use my strengths every day. So let me get my timer ready. All right. Take out your pencil and put it in your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, put it in your left hand. All right, switch hands, not your dominant hand, your other hand. Ready, set, go. Write this sentence 3 times with your non-dominant hand. I use my strengths every day. All right, Isabella or Richard, will you tell me when you're done? I'm waiting. Okay, are you done? I can't tell. All right, the leg is killing me. Oh, good, thank you. Richard says done. Okay, yay, thank you. Okay, nice job. Thanks for hanging in there with me. All right, so now I'm gonna start the timer again, and this time, let's do the activity and use your dominant hand to write the same sentence on the right side of the page. Ready? Set, go. I'm not frozen. I'm waiting. All right, perfect. Done. Okay. Well, So let's talk about this exercise. It's super funny when we're all in the same room, which we will be soon. I hear comments like awkward, uncomfortable, weird, unnatural. I see some people quit. I hear when I ask people, what are you thinking? What were you thinking? They say, I was thinking about how do I hold the pencil? How do I do the letters? Or what's the process? And when I ask people, what about the second time that you did it? What did you feel? And I hear, oh, it's fine. It was normal. It was natural. Nothing. I got it done. It was efficient. I love that some people are like, I didn't even get finished with the first. The idea is your work from the first round is likely not as legible, and it probably took longer. Some of you may be ambidextrous. I'll throw that out there. Some of your text actually probably got worse as you kept going. But the text from the second round looks more consistent and you finished more quickly. You didn't even have to think about it, right? As you might guess, the point of this exercise is to underline how much easier and successful we can be depending on whether we're using our lesser talents versus our greater talents. This writing activity might show you what it feels like to work at something that is your lesser talent. The first round was awkward, uncomfortable, maybe even frustrating. Some of you may not have completed it. The second round was easy, natural, automatic. When I do this, I can see and even hear the grumbling and the outburst, laughter. And in the second round, it gets quiet, focused, hardworking. Now imagine what happens when you have a whole team of people who are not using their talents. The type of disengagement is contagious and affects productivity. Having one individual use their talents, on the other hand, is good. But imagine having an entire team of people using their talents. So keep in mind, the conventional approach to team and individual performance improvement goes something like this. First, it assumes if we're already good at something, we don't need to worry about it. So don't put focus there, but figure out where you don't improve. Figure out where you need to improve, and we might even develop an improvement plan. So that would look like, okay, so for those of you who are writing with your non-dominant hand, maybe we should have you take some writing classes so that you could do it better, or maybe we should have somebody show you. We could develop goals and a time plan. It's hard for me to even say this because I think, oh my goodness, you know how it's just not a good use of time. Now, the lawyer in me pushes back and says, well, we can't ignore our weaknesses and we gotta do some things, but I'm talking about the most bang for your buck. So coming out of this pandemic and this time, and if you're wanting to reset, I believe your best use of time is to uncover your natural talents and invest more time in that. So Donald Clifton, who is the founder of all of this, he asked, what will happen when we think about what is right with people rather than fixating on what is wrong with them? Contrary to the popular notion that people can excel at anything if they try hard enough, while we can and should try to do anything we really want to do, long-term success may elude us if we don't have a basic talent for doing it. It's like my son who screams in the basement, and I think he loves producing and singing and dancing, but don't tell him. He screams, I think, wait a minute, I can't even say this because he might listen. So he screams mostly. So as adults, you kind of get that. And this summer, I think I'm going to put him in a production event camp. I'm trying to find his talents. Anyway, I got sidetracked thinking about my son. I should not. Okay. A strengths base is different. It's a different way of thinking. With strengths, we start by focusing on our talent and we emphasize that to then finish with our strength. This doesn't mean, as I said, we don't ignore our weaknesses. We need to be aware of them and manage them. But our greatest opportunity for growth and success lies in building on our natural talents. Our best opportunities for personal development are seldom discovered in our weaknesses. Each of you has strengths, the unique combination and talent of you have a unique combination of talent, knowledge, and skills that help you do what you do best every day. Your greatest talents are more than what make you unique. They're actually your best opportunity for excellence. The Clifton Strengthsfinder is the code that cracks open your awareness of your unique talents. So as I mentioned, so Clifton Strengthsfinder is a way that you can hopefully more efficiently identify your natural talents, but there's ways to do it too if you didn't take the assessment. We often take our most powerful talents for granted, and many of us are not even fully aware of our natural talents. The ways that you naturally think, feel, behave are such a dominant part of you that they're always there. Everywhere you go, everything you do, there they are. But because your greatest talents are such a natural part of you, they can actually be hard for you to recognize. The Clifton Strengths Assessment reveals your unique talents and measures the presence of talents in 34 general themes. So there's 34 options of what you could have gotten. Talents, as I keep explaining, are recurring patterns of thoughts, feelings, or behavior that can be productively applied. So the way that I think, the way that I feel, the way that I behave, there's some of that that's supernatural to me. Nobody taught me. It's just how I am. And if I can build on those, the way that I get strength is to build on that. So strength is your ability to consistently provide near perfect performance in a specific task. So strengths are the results of refined talents. So talents naturally exist. Strengths must be developed. So strengths are the results of refining these talents and making them into real strengths. So somebody could have a talent and it not be a strength because they sort of ignored it. The Clifton Strengthsfinder assessment it can be a starting point for this self-discovery, like pulling this out. Some of you will be surprised. What is that? Really? One is that's really a strength or a talent. And two, I just do that naturally. A person's talents are their intuitive source of wisdom and power. It's intuitive. And if you intentionally draw on this power, it allows you to transform every moment, every interaction, and every day. The Clifton Strengths theme gives you, and if you're working with a team or a group, it gives you a common language to start talking about each other's talents and strengths and a way to sort of start focusing and supporting each other. The Clifton Strengths themes at the top of your profile are the most powerful. So many of you took the test or the assessment and you got your top 5 and those are your most powerful. Check this out. Similar though to your fingerprint, these themes represent how you are uniquely talented. There are over 33 million possible combinations of the top 5 themes. That's right. Over 33 million. So the odds that someone else has the same 5 themes in the same order are 1 in 33 million. So unlikely that any of us on this call or listening to this have the same. The chance that somebody else has the top 5 in the same order that I do is 1 in 33 million. So wow, that makes me uniquely qualified when I show up, because unlikely that there's another person who has the talents that I have in the order that I have. So when we talk about themes, they're the basic language of talent. These themes help us to begin to discover and talk about our greatest talents. As I mentioned, there's 34 of them, and in your report, you received your top 5. So for example, if you have achiever in your top 5, like I do, that likely means that you like to be busy and productive and that you're always striving to accomplish a lot. You're probably one of those list people. You may make to-do lists every day. You might strive to beat your own best record or performance, and you may exhibit all these behaviors or just some of them. Either way, if you're an achiever is in your top 5, it's a dominant talent theme for you to relate to. So we are not going to go through your reports, but I recommend that you review your report, you start interacting and looking at it. What was your first thought when you go through it? What resonates? Here's one way that you could go through it. This is an activity, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. And then in the post-event email, you'll actually get the handout so you can do it. But let me just tell you one way that you could sort of work with this, and then we'll head to question and answers. So one thing you could do is what's called name it, claim it, aim it. And just reminding you, your report is a beginning, not an end. The name it, claim it, aim it is, again, you don't have to write any of this down. This is going to come to you in a handout. If you signed up for the class or the session, then you'll get this in a handout afterwards. But the first step is to sort of, is to look at your report and name it. So read the report and go through and highlight the phrases and sentences that sound most like you. Like, oh yeah, that's me, that's me. That's going to be different for you, and it's going to be different for each theme. Some themes you might highlight the whole paragraph, lots of paragraphs. Some it might just be a few. There's no wrong way to do it, but the idea is to get in there and look at your report and have some way to sort of work with it. The next thing is to claim one, like pick one. You might pick the one in your top 5 that you're like, that is totally me and I am not surprised. Or you might pick the one that's like, that one I don't know as much about. From the strengths-based approach, I pick the one that I love the most, and let's do that one first. So I started thinking about, how does that make me successful? What has that allowed me to do? And I try to think, read it, and then look at your current life, either at work or at home. How has this made you successful? And for me, this is where I started realizing things that were talents that I didn't think were talents. It's just who I am. And then the final piece of this is to aim it. So think about, how could I use this more intentionally now that I know that it's actually a talent? Like, starting tomorrow, what are 2 ways that I could do this and incorporate it more fully? Okay, so here's the deal. We can't do this interactively today, and I want to leave some time for questions. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to provide up to 4 complimentary 20-minute sessions for you to participate, and whoever gets chosen will do this. We'll have you show up, and I'll work with the group that I work with for 20 minutes, and you'll see how quick it can be and how easy it can be, and you'll leave the session with 2 things. So here's how you get the opportunity to do a 20-minute claim it, name it, aim it session with me. And I'm glad that I thought of doing it this way. So the first 4 people to email, so you're going to email my assistant or one of the people on my team. And in the email, you're going to include your 5 dominant themes from your report. And then she'll take it, and from the 4 people that she gets the email first, she will schedule sessions with each of you. And if you have the same one, well, then she'll do 3 sessions, but more than likely it won't be. It'll be 4 different sessions. And then anybody who's not in the top 4, she will go through. And if you emailed her, but you weren't in the top 4, but let's say the person, let's say the achiever is the first one to email. If you have achiever in your top 5, then you would be invited to attend that same 20-minute session. And in that 20 minutes, I'll work with all the people who have achiever in their top 5 who were invited guests of this for this session. So you're going to email here in a minute to my assistant. You're going to include your top 5 dominant themes, and as I mentioned, the next people will be invited to participate if you're top. That's why you're putting all 5 in there so we'll know, but we're only going to do your top 1. Unless you're not the top 4, then we'll pull you in if it's if you have one in your other, if the other 4. So email my team with your top 5 themes, ask for a complimentary session, and then we will get you, we'll figure it out after that. Like I said, we'll pick the first 4 and notify the others. So here's the email. You can email now, be one of the first 4, or you can email later today or tomorrow, and then on Saturday, she'll sort of figure out who we've got and what we have. So I'm leaving that up there for just a minute. If you don't have that email, we will come back to it. So in closing, consider this quote. Most people think they know what they're good at. They're usually wrong. And yet a person can perform only from strength. So that's what Peter Drucker said. And I think some of the things he says have been really helpful. So what I think I'm good at sometimes isn't what I'm good at. And when I first started thinking about making a career shift, I was asked a number of times by a really good business coach, what do people come to you for? What do people ask your advice on? That's what you're good at. That's what people know you for. And so think about that. You may not know what you're good at, and that's why this assessment can be good. And start thinking about being a strengths scout. Start looking for the good in yourself and in others. And with others, I love this piece because I'm always looking for ways to contribute positively to the world, is start looking for other people's strengths too. Look for those strengths. Look for them. Now that you know that strengths can be, a whole lot broader than what we've maybe thought about, when you spot a colleague using a strength, tell him or her what you saw and reinforce the value of the strength, focusing on the talents. That's where our greatest opportunity lies for not only success, but for fulfillment. Like when we're doing the things that we are naturally born to do, I mean, that's like a duck in water. Like I can tell it. You can tell it. There are things that we do that we love. I lose track of time doing things when I am in my natural strength, my natural talent. So let me tell you, I hope that this has been helpful, and I hope that you will give some thought to where you are, what your natural strengths are, and where you want to allocate your hours of practice and focus. And use this as a time as a reset so that sorry, I just saw that some people got to bounce back on the email. Make sure your Oquist is with a Q, admin@sarahoquist.com. But if you have trouble, you'll get through and we'll figure it out. But so give some thought to where you are and what your natural strengths are and where you want to allocate that time, where you want to focus your energy, and use this reset that we've all of us have been given, whether we wanted it or not, and to direct your energies, your time, your focus, your dreaming to using your talents that give you more bang for your buck, more success for your effort, more productivity for your hour, and more happiness and fulfillment for your efforts. All right, there's the email again, just in case you didn't get it. I hope I wrote it right. Yeah, admin@sarahoquist.com. That it's OQ, not something else. All right, so I will invite Richard and Irma back if they would like to come back for questions and stories.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes. Thank you so much, Sarah. I was actually enjoyed so much being a participant myself. I have my top strengths here in front of me. I would love for people who are still watching to share some questions in the chat.
And tell me when you have a minute, and I have a story. But I want you to get questions too.
Yes, we had some folks here that took the Strengthsfinders about 10 years ago, and I definitely have probably taken that test like 3 times. And each time I would say like the last ones are always like the top ones, even though they definitely have switched throughout the years. And we do have a question on here. Thank you so much for your question here.
Great. Is that the iterate the difference between talent and strength?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. The talent is sort of what you naturally do. And so to give you an example, I'm one of those people who talk to people, but I tended to talk to people individually. It just came naturally to me because I was super interested in the individual that I was with. And so that's a natural talent. Like that's my inclination. I want to do it if it's just, and it most often I would do it if there were fewer people than a lot. I'm not a woo, which is wowing over. Oh, I knew if I said it, I would forget the actual acronym. But those people can move an entire group really well. I like to talk to one person. I'm an introvert, strong introvert. And so that's my talent. My talent is my natural way of showing up. I naturally at events want to talk to one person. Now, turning it into a strength, a way that I can use it well, is coaching, is an example. So I became an executive coach, and I actually said, I do this well. I connect quickly and well one-on-one. And so I saw that and I thought, here's a way that I can do this. I can interact with people and I can develop rapport really fast. I can do a 15-minute coaching session really fast because I've developed that natural talent. So on the flip side, not necessarily opposite, because no theme is bad. Oh, that's right. Gallup tells me, make sure I say, nothing is bad and nothing makes you more successful as a leader than others. There's not one's bad, one's good. They're all just different ways of reaching success. But let's say you have woo. Oh, my audio equipment just jumped in. Those people naturally love to talk to lots of people, love to that's natural. They're their natural thing. But they can take that talent, and if they work on it, they're good people in marketing who can think about what would appeal to the masses. So that's a way to take that talent and say, you already do this well. Let's figure out how to make it a strength and put it to work. Somebody said I'm a woo. Yes. Yes, I love that. Help you. Woo. So woo, you guys are really, gals and guys, are really good at the group. I mean, winning. Is somebody else a woo? Tell me the woo. I knew I would forget what woo stands for because I'm so in awe of woo. But a lot of these, that one in particular is really good at the mass, moving masses. I'm looking down here to see. Oh, thank you. Winning others over. I knew that I would forget it. I just passed my recertification at Gallup. They would probably take away my certification. How do you deal with changes in your Strengthsfinder? That's a great question. I took mine in 2008 and then again in 2000. Oh, well, anyway, sometime much longer. What I did was I got all 34. So in both, because I was curious. Only one thing changed though. And the thing that changed might be kind of funny. Usually they don't change that much. If they change, they don't change that much. And what I did was, like I said, I got the 34 so I could see. And for mine, positivity was in my top 5. And then 10, 15 years later, it dropped to, not in my top 5. And significance came up into the top 5. And I think some of that was about my life and my sort of where I was in my life. And even though I am a super positive person, and that's still true about my natural talent, I think as I became older, it was super important to me about leaving an impact and a legacy. And that became, and I did see a significant change sort of in my focus of who I was. I think I was a little bit more of a people pleaser and more positive. I had some therapy as well. So I just, I don't think there's usually big changes, but I would, if you have changes, I would investigate it, look at it, see what changed and where and why you might think that what aligns best with where you are.
Sarah, I've got a question. I'm fairly new to the whole Strengthsfinder program, and I still have kind of maybe an antiquated way of thinking, the idea of I have to address weaknesses, and help me understand, I have to imagine there's a balance to be struck, right? I mean, do we truly kind of ignore weaknesses and focus solely on strengths? What if the weakness is kind of keeping us from tapping into our strengths or maximizing our strengths? Just that concept of focusing on strengths and maybe not on weaknesses. I'm trying to see if perhaps there's a balance to strike there.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be a good example, because I like to be very specific in examples, but sometimes I have leaders who come to me and when they look at their top 5, they're not an achiever, or they're not something that they think they need to be to lead their team. And so they say, well, don't I need to be an achiever to lead this team? So shouldn't we work on me being a better achiever? And instead I say, well, let's think about what your goal is. So what's your goal? What are you showing up and trying to do? And then we're going to focus your strengths in getting that done. So sure, if you're on a team and your goal is for your team to get something done and you're an achiever, well, that's great, because you're going to get it done. But maybe you get it done versus engaging your team. Mm-hmm. So if you're a woo, maybe you say, okay, I'm not really the one who gets things done, but I can get people to get things done. I can pour into them, inspire them, engage them, convince them, persuade them. And so it's not that you're going to, like, achievers your last, which I can't understand because that's one of my top. But if that's your last, it doesn't mean you can't get things done. It just means you're going to look at different ways to get it done. So I'll give one last example. I don't remember which one's learner or input. One of those are super low for me, which is surprising because I'm a lawyer. But I know when I have to get something, like learn something, I rely on my relator as that theme, and I find somebody else and we learn it together. Because then I'm interacting with people. Then it helps me. So I could focus on the fact that I don't like to do that and it's hard, but I don't. Instead, I think, well, how could I engage one of the things that is natural for me to accomplish the task? Okay, I notice we're at time. This always happens. I want to thank you so much for having me. It's been just a joy. I appreciate it and appreciate what you're trying to do for all of your members.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah, again, for this wonderful training. I think that it's, again, really important for all of us, even during the moments, difficult moments that we are going through during this pandemic, that we don't forget to invest in ourselves. And we hope that today you were able to think about the strengths that you naturally have and, continue to push those forward. Again, Sarah, thank you so much, Richard and the Minnesota Hispanic Bar Association, for your partnership today. And we will continue to share more workshops and trainings for our LatinoLEAD members moving forward. Thank you so much again for those who were present live, but we will also be sharing this video as a follow-up to those that were not able to make it. Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful rest of your day.